Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Market Open stream. Man, there's a lot of news this week. There's a lot of crucial data we need to pay attention to. So I'm going to talk about what those things are and also help you avoid bank runs, because that is exactly what's happening around the world right now, specifically in China, and it's getting very, very ugly. So let's get started. Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media, check out CryptosRUs.com, and follow the brand new Clips channel. Good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got 1 minute. 1 minute before U.S. markets open. Actually, I take that back. Less than 1 minute. It is now 8:30. The best opening bell in industry right here. All right, so right now it does look like U.S. markets will be in the red, although it could definitely swing upwards. You could tell CNBC. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, but the headline news is, of course, Elon backing out from Twitter. But I'll get to that in a little bit. But right now, let's see if it refreshed yet. No. Bitcoin is at 20,500, so a little bit less than yesterday, but kind of finding its footing right around here, about this 20,500 mark. And let's see if it could flip upwards. But going back to all the major things that's happening this week, right? Let's start out with what's going on in the U.S. Big economic data. Why is it so big? Well, it has to do with inflation, with Fed Chair Powell, with CPI, with core inflation. I mean, everything. Okay, it's a big week. It's a big week, and that's coming Wednesday. So we're going to get CPI number, okay, year over year, monthly, also core CPI, right? So many people think that headline inflation, which is CPI, is going to go up from 8.6 to 8.8, and core inflation is supposed to go down, right? So if we deviate from these numbers vastly, well, we're going to get some movement one way or another, okay? If CPI goes higher than 8.8%, goes to 9% and higher, well, that's not good. If core inflation doesn't go down, it goes up, it's not good, right? But if both of these numbers go down, well, then that's good. So we got some big data points coming up this Wednesday. In addition, there's a lot of other stuff that people, of course, are paying attention to. Jobless claims on Thursday, and then Friday you have other ones like retail sales. Basically, everything that's measuring how good our economy is, right? And this is all leading up to whether or not the U.S. is going to go into inflation. So there's some preliminary, Q2 GDP numbers, which is pointing to a negative growth. And if that's the case, then officially we are in recession already. We just don't know until official GDP numbers come out, right? So big stuff coming ahead. But the good news is apparently the Treasury yields, a 10-year bond and 5-year and everything else, has dipped, which means people are buying a little bit more of it. I guess that's not a good thing. That means, actually, I was thinking the opposite. So that means that there are a lot of fearful people that think that data will be bad, and they're buying the Treasury yield bonds. So that is what's happening this week in the U.S. Okay, so we got to pay attention to those things. Now, in Europe, a lot of you guys in Europe, I saw this. This is not good. Europe is on high alert, specifically Germany. Okay, because their Nord Stream pipeline is going to go in maintenance, okay? And when that happens, usually, they have to cut off the gas, right? But there's a lot of fears that once it gets cut off, even when maintenance is over, that it's not going to be turned back on again. So Klaus Müller, Mueller, I don't know if that's how you say his name, the head of Germany's energy regulator, believes the Kremlin may continue to throttle Europe's energy supplies beyond the schedule end of maintenance work. So we know that the war is still ongoing. Europe has made a lot of promises in terms of getting off Russian natural gas, Russian oil, right? They're doing what they can to spin up their coal plants and going nuclear again and stuff like that. But you got to figure while they're making all these plans, they're still buying Russian gas. And Russia and Kremlin and Putin is still like, okay, you guys are threatening to get off our gas and oil, so why should we continue to help you guys and supply gas and oil? You got to think, right? Like if you're in Putin, why would you continue to do so? Right? So this is why Europe is on high alert. So if something happens, it's not going to be good. This is going to run all the way to July 21st. So we'll see what happens. That's 10 days. What's going to happen after the 21st? Are things still going to be cut off afterwards? And if so, then things will get really, really, really bad in Europe. So let's hope that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. And what else is going on? Well, in China, not good things is going on in China. Major bank runs happening right now. There's 4 banks that have shut off, and these are major banks. I'm not familiar with the major banks in China, but supposedly 4 banks shut out withdrawals because of how much people have been withdrawing. Basically, they're out of money. They're out of money. The rumors are because China has been loaning so much to Russia that some of them have become, I don't know if insolvent is the right word, but they just didn't have enough money on hand, and now people are worried and pulling their money out, and then you're leading a bank run. And there's a lot of protests.
A massive protest
and
over frozen bank
this is
deposit.
not a good one to showcase, but like stuff like this, right? They're like storming the banks, and it's happening a lot of places, right? People want their money back, and it's not a good situation, right? So the reason why I bring this up is because obviously we have heard of this before. It's happened in crypto right now with a lot of lending company. It happened to Peter Schiff. His bank was taken away, and now it's happening everywhere, even in China, right? And this is one of the major reasons why Bitcoin is the solution. Why Bitcoin was created. Because of distrust into governments, banks, central banks, authority, right? Basically, anyone could take your money away. They could take your money away. They can freeze your money. They could stop you from using your money, right? And ask you questions on what you're going to do with your money. I mean, all these things that people hate. Well, if you have Bitcoin, you have your own wallet, you stay anonymous. No one could tell you any of these things, right? No one could stop you from any of these things. So I think what we're seeing right now, right, kind of proves why Bitcoin and Bitcoin's network is important and why it should be around and why everyone should get involved, right? We're seeing it right in front of our eyes. It's happening like daily now, right? Just after Peter Schiff's bank being confiscated, now we're seeing this. And hopefully this doesn't happen to other major banks around the world, right? All right, so that's also happening this week. Got to pay attention to that. What else is going on? Let me refresh this. NASDAQ not doing so good right now, minus 195. Dow minus 132. Dow's not doing too bad, but NASDAQ is sliding further. This headline news, of course, is talking about Twitter. Elon says, well, no, I'm not going to buy Twitter anymore because he's been wanting bot data, and Twitter seems to be refusing giving that data. So now Twitter's going to sue Elon, which Elon says, fine, go ahead, because you'll have to reveal that data in court anyways, right? But keep in mind that Twitter right now, after this news, is only valued at $26 billion, which is way below the $44 billion that Elon offered right now. So maybe Elon is thinking, well, it's good that I'm not going through with it because he would be overpaying by almost double. I mean, not almost, it's not double, but like by 70% or something like that. It's insane. And Tesla stock this morning actually was in the green. Now I have flipped into red, but it was in the green because it seems like no one in Tesla really wants Elon to buy Twitter anyway. So could be a good thing. Could be a blessing in disguise, okay? This sort of situation. What else is there? Well, going back to Bitcoin, besides the fact that you have a lot of bank runs, which is, of course, one of the major reasons why Bitcoin was created, major reason why many are continuing to hold it, there's still a lot of great stuff happening. For example, bank run happening on Bitcoin exchanges. No, not not in that sense, but in the sense of Bitcoin is being removed from the exchanges in a ferocious way, and that's what we want to see. It's being removed because people are buying, right? And the lower the reserves go, the more valuable Bitcoin becomes. It's just really that simple, and you can see it's dropping. It's dropping like a rock right now. Okay, and many would argue, well, maybe that's just because people are leaving this space. Well, some of it is probably, but when you have addresses that's holding any number of Bitcoin, and when you have those addresses continue to go up, you can't dispute it. That means there's definitely a lot of buying. It's not just people leaving and selling the Bitcoin for cash or stable coins, but there are a lot of people that continue to stack stats in DCA, and there's more people coming in also. That is why charts like this continue to go upwards and never downwards, because there's too many that know what's going on, and they don't want to miss out on this revolution. All right, what else is there? Well, here's something that we could look forward to. Bitcoin is still in the oversold zone and is recovering from there, just like some of the previous times, like back in 2018, right, and back in 2020. Right, so in terms of oversoldness, we're still there. We haven't really moved from there. We're still stuck, right around the 20,000 mark, right? Until we make any major recovery, let's say back to 30,000 or 40,000, we're still in that low range, just like previous cycles. And here's another one showing us right around that 200 weekly moving average and how it's very similar to some of the previous cycles that we have seen, previous bottom points, right? So again, there's still a lot of metrics, a lot of technical indicators, a lot of models that show that Bitcoin is still oversold level, very similar to previous cycles. And the important thing is the fundamentals are still great, and we're seeing on the world stage why it's important to be holding on something that's decentralized like Bitcoin, so that you don't have your money being taken away from you. And that's never a good thing, right? All right, that is pretty much it. That's it for this morning. There's a lot of stuff. That's why it's such a crucial week. A lot of geopolitical stuff, a lot of macroeconomic stuff, and just a lot of stuff overall. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Q&A. Meta Puppet. Can Ledger be ordered to halt transactions on Ledger Live? I don't know. That's a good question. Here's the thing. Even if it does, let's say Ledger Live goes down. Let's say Ledger, the company itself, goes down, right? The thing is, you're not stuck with your crypto. The phrase that they give you, the 24, word phrase, right? You could use that to extract your private key. And then you can utilize that to access Bitcoin from another source, right? So that's kind of the point of hardware wallets and mobile wallets that are non-custodial, because what they're really doing is safeguarding, okay, your private key. They're not storing your crypto. They're just safeguarding your private key, but you can have access to that even though they go under. So I think that's what you're really asking. Let's see. All right, just scrolling here. Is Walmart accepting crypto? Not that I know of. Someone spread that rumor about Litecoin years ago, and Litecoin shot up, but we know that was fake. What will happen if ETH goes under security in the near future? Actually, not a whole lot. I know yesterday I made a big deal about what Michael Saylor said, but if you think about it, so many things are ready as security, so it's probably just going to be regulated differently. And there's been many projects that's been sued by the SEC in terms of conducting illegal security token offerings, and they got through it just fine. I know Ripple is having a huge case because SEC really doesn't like Ripple and its founders, but if you look at some of the previous projects like EOS and Tezos and Kin, they were sued by SEC for illegal token offerings, and they paid a fine, and that's it. Like a few million, and life goes on, and they still exist. So I think this whole thing is a little bit overblown right now, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just hope that they don't do anything. I hope they don't do anything just to win the case against Ripple. Okay, let's just put it that way. Hopefully they're not, they want to win the case so bad that they somehow have to revert their own findings or their own conclusion and revert it from a commodity to a security just so they could get back at Ripple. Hopefully that's not the case. James, Harmony 1, what do you think? I'm not buying and holding. I'm neutral on Harmony after their hack and after what happened with DeFi Kingdom. So, yeah, I'm more neutral now. Why do you think our recent BTC all-time high was much lower than other years? Do you think it'll stop? Yeah, I do think it wasn't complete. And I think a lot of that is due to the economy. Had we not gone into, what we're going through now, had the Fed not declared rate hikes coming, had inflation not gone sky high, and everything else, had Europe, Russia not declared war on Ukraine. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened within a very short amount of time, right? Had none of these things happened, I think Bitcoin will be well above 100,000. So I do think it was our bull run got halted because of it, but it will come back. It will. Let's see. Do you think that chaos in China will bleed into crypto today? I think it'll bleed in a good way. Although you're banned from buying Bitcoin in China, and this is one of the reasons why, because they don't want their citizens to just get into something better. But there are ways to get in crypto in China. There are still a lot of people that do get into it and could use VPNs to buy from other exchanges around the world. I think it's going to bleed in a good way. It's going to show people the importance of having something that you control and being your own bank, essentially. Order a Nano X from Ledger. How do I know it's been tampered with in transit? Is it a good idea to, you know what? I mean, if you're ordering straight from Ledger, it should be safe, right? When I say should. But, a way to test it is just send a little bit of crypto into it, okay? And then just leave it there and see what happens, right? And then just like when you're withdrawing out of exchange and entering a new wallet or new exchange or whatever, right? It's always a good idea to test it out first. Send a little amount, see if it gets there, and see what happens, right? And then once you feel safe, then transfer a little more. But if you're ordering straight from Ledger, it should be okay. I say should. Of course, there could be someone tamper with it in the middle of the process, but yeah, just slowly test it out. Any good news with Algo? Nothing recently. Nothing I picked up. Is crypto crash good to get all the weak institutions out? That's one way to look at it. Yeah, obviously, we drove out Three Arrows Capital, which turned out to be way, 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 way too risky with their money, right? And then drove out basically all the lending companies they borrow from that took no collateral, right? So basically driving out all the institutions that were too risk adverse. I think that's how you say it, right? Yeah, so you could view it that way. Jeff, thank you. 200K for next cycle top. I think next cycle top could be even beyond that. A lot of people threw out 200, 250, before. I think that's realistic based on previous, projections, previous models. We could get there in the next cycle. David, don't be asking about coins like that. All right. Let's see. Sol is still one of the big L1s, even though a lot of FUD out there. And I'm not as bullish on Sol as I used to be with all the network outages that they had. But still, they're one of the bigger ones. They're not going to go away, and they're still trying to improve. And there's a ton of NFT marketplaces coming aboard. Let's see. Zoka, Elron, Near. Out of the three, I probably like Near the best. Zoka and Elron, they're okay, but I think I like Near the best. Zoka was way too overhyped due to their Metapolis metaverse game, and it caught me even by surprise. And I'm like, okay, it's just another metaverse, and then everyone like jumped on board and started pumping Zilliqa. I was just like, okay, it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal, but now obviously things have come back down again. I seem tired? Yeah, I am tired. I always hate Mondays. I like my weekends. I wake up late. I'm not a morning person at all. So these streams, these streams at 8:15, 8:20, they're tough for me. Because I usually sleep late. I don't get up. I'm not a morning person. Did I lose money on Celsius? No. I got lucky. I pulled out like a week before because there was rumors, not about their insolvency, but there was rumors about their other team members being tied to certain labs, and there's all this other FUD that came out, and I didn't like what I was hearing, so luckily I pulled out of Celsius. I didn't have too much in Celsius, but I did have a six-figure plus, so I got lucky there. Do you think the market goes down more and the miners would start turning off rigs and decrease? Yeah, Michael, it'll happen if it drops substantially more. If Bitcoin, say, drop to 10,000, let's say. Yeah, there would be many that turn off their rigs because it'll be so unprofitable at that point. But right now, still not at that point. And many of the North American miners have already come out, like Hut 8 and Marathon. They already come out and said that they haven't sold any Bitcoin, and they don't plan on selling any Bitcoin, right? So the situation now is a little bit different than before. Why wouldn't you turn off rigs if you know the market will reverse eventually? Because it's just too costly for them to keep running. Keep in mind, a lot of these farms, they have thousands and thousands and thousands of rigs. So if they're all operating at a negative and it's costing them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of electricity, they're going to turn it off. Brett, thank you. If altcoins become securities, would that help dead projects finally die? Maybe. Only if the founders get scared out, right? But some of these that become securities, they're not going to die, and nor should they. they're just gonna have to be regulated differently. But the smaller ones probably will because they can't go through the scrutiny that they need to as a security. But the bigger projects, they will continue on. Like for example, I'm just gonna use Ripple as an example. If XRP is deemed a security, Ripple will continue on. They have more than enough money to continue on. They would not want to see that, but if they were, they would continue on. There will be no problem continuing on. But the thing with Ripple is it's beyond that. The SEC is going after the founders too. They're not just going after Ripple, the company. They're going after the founders, and they're also saying that they conducted illegal token sales, which they could probably get past that part by paying some fines like previous projects, right? But I think the SEC wants the two founders to also leave the company. And if Brad Garlinghouse and man, I forgot the other founder. I haven't played that video long enough in a long time. But if both of the founders of Ripple leaves or forced to leave, then I don't know if Ripple can continue. That's the thing. Oh, Chris Larson. Yeah, Chris Larson. If Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse gets kicked out, then they're going to be in trouble. BNB, do you think their fee discount will be reestablished? I didn't know they took it away. But I do know that BNB and Binance has been really, really, really quiet. Right? CZ has come out and said he would not be doing what Sam Bankman-Fried, what he's doing. Right? This whole thing with Voyager, being an investor in Voyager, then taking out money from that and then loaning it back to him. This whole thing is so convoluted. CZ's like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing anything like that. But he did say that he's working on a lot of acquisitions, but we haven't heard of any one of them. Binance is in a really good spot, in my opinion. CZ is a smart guy. They're going to be making some big moves. We just don't know what. And because of it, I think BNB is safe. Do I have a Porsche 911 GT2 RS? No, I don't. I would love to get a GT3, a new GT3, not the RS, just a GT3. Because I think the new ones look really, really awesome. But it's hard to buy anything right now when every dealership is marking up their cars 100,000 plus, and it's just ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm hoping for the car market to actually come down. How many deals happen without us knowing? I don't know what like deals you're referring to, but there's a lot of deals that's happening every single day. So I don't know what you're referring to. Let's see. Yeah, NASDAQ is getting a little bit weaker today. Family offices have a $6 trillion powerhouse in investing. Okay, that's just kind of like stating the obvious. Yeah, Bitcoin is at 20,300, a little bit weaker, probably due to NASDAQ. I think this week, probably not a whole lot of movement until Wednesday, until we get some inflation data. Then things will start moving, one way or another. I don't see anyone talking about GT2 RS. GT3 is one everyone talks about. I hear, the Cayman, or what is it, GT4 RS, but I never heard of GT2 RS. At least I don't hear anyone really talk about it. You stack sats, I stack drops, XRP is a standard. A standard of what? Standard of what? Do you think BlockFi is safe for now? I mean, it seems relatively safe. Their withdrawals is still open. BlockFi is a little bit safer. They seem to be much stronger. If they do sell to FTX, it's not for nothing. They're going to be selling for close to $700 million. And their withdrawals is still open, and their BlockFi cards are still working, their credit cards, right? So they're in a much stronger spot than everyone else right now. I pulled out of Coinbase and put it on Cash App. Wait, I pulled out of Coinbase and just bought BTC on Cash App. Seems like the safer bet. Easy withdrawal twos. How am I losing? I mean, keep in mind, Cash App is not a non-custodial wallet, Orange Lambo. They're just like a PayPal and Coinbase. I don't see Cash App ever stopping withdrawals because they're owned by Jack Dorsey, and Jack Dorsey is such a big Bitcoin bull. But keep in mind, Cash App is not a non-custodial wallet. So if you really want to safeguard your Bitcoin, move it to a Trust wallet or something like that. Prepare the financial arc on these red wave, ride, and mid-long hold surf bro. Okay. A little too much there, but okay, thank you. Drew Duran, I think that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So much FUD, just like last summer. Yeah. So much FUD, just like last summer, just like March in 2020, just like end of 2018. A lot of FUD everywhere. All right, guys. I'll let you go. By the way, I did watch Thor, and I did see this. I think Thor is not as bad as critics say. And I'll say that. I mean, it wasn't the greatest Marvel movie, but it wasn't that bad. I would say a 7 out of 10. But what I really wanted to let you guys know, I discovered this old movie from 2007. It's actually not that old. The Man from Earth. This is a really, really good movie. It's all dialogue. They don't do anything. It's just a guy sharing a story in a cabin. But if you're into science fiction, and there's a religious twist, okay? So I highly recommend watching this. It's on Amazon Prime, and I think it's on Netflix, but just want to share with you on that. It's a really, really good movie. Really good movie. There's a sequel, but the sequel sucks. But this first one is really good. All right. What's your latest opinion on Hedera? Michael, I appreciate the super chat, but there's no latest opinion on Hedera. It's still the same. Nothing really has changed for me. So I still think there's better projects out there. But I hear they have become more open source now. So they're getting their EVM compatibility, smart contracts. So those are big things. Big things. All right, guys. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Big, big things to look forward to this week. Some good, some not so good. But stay strong, my friends. Stay strong. And what's going on in China with their bank runs happening and their withdrawals being suspended is exactly the reason why we need to be in Bitcoin. All right? I will see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Take care. Bye-bye.